The GS acronym these days is as popular as Lindsay Lohan or the Fast and Furious Supra.
It started to gain popularity in the 2000s, and ever since, it became an icon. That being said, companies tend to be more and more liberal with slapping designations on their models.
Now, GS stands for Gelandestrasse, or as normal people would put it, on-road and off-road.
Bring on today's subject, the BMW F700GS. Is it a true all-rounder? Or does it just flaunt titles it was never meant to have?
On-road, it's a proper BMW. The parallel twin power unit produces 70-something horsepower.
Look, stats like these are irrelevant. What you need to know is that it has a pleasant engine note and that it can move its weight around quickly enough. And linearly.
While torque doesn't hit you like a sledgehammer, it pushes you constantly. Kind of like a hydraulic press, even from low RPMs. You also get free riding mode, Street, which you'll use most often, Enduro, which you'll use when you pretend to go off-roading, and Rain,
which you'll never use. I never found Rain mode to be even remotely useful on any bike, and this Beamer makes no exception.
Then you have the brakes, which do a good job of braking. They are Brembos, but not the fancy Brembos.
This means they'll stop you well enough, but don't expect superbike calipers. Obviously.
The suspension was a good surprise, and especially ESA, which is a fancy acronym for electronically adjustable suspension. You get three modes: comfort, normal, and sport, and they actually do make a difference.
Comfort is proper smooth, normal is, well, normal, and sport actually does a good job of improving the bike's cornering and braking. It doesn't magically transform it into an S1000RR, it's not Optimus Prime, but it genuinely makes riding sporty twisties fun, which is pretty awesome. Me gusta.
So TLDR, it's a really comfy bike that can actually handle some twisties. It's not a ballerina, but neither is it Fiona. On road? Check.
What about going off the pavement?
At first glance, things are not looking pretty. First of all, it's the wheels, which are simply wrong. Look, a bike needs to have a 21-inch front wheel in order to go off-roading. I'm sorry, it's the law.
And it also has to be spoked, which this isn't. And then you get to first gear, which feels like second. I don't know what BMW was thinking.
But first is so tall on this motorcycle, making you constantly have to slip the clutch at any speed under 25 km per hour.
Which for going off-road is pretty abysmal. It does have some redeeming qualities, although they would be expected from a bike in this segment. The turning radius is just like this long story, short.
And the weight is kept pretty low because of the unique gas tank design, but we'll get to that a bit later. Overall, the skies are pretty dark over the 700's off-road pedigree. It does not impress, not excel. It's good at tackling gravel roads with its soft suspension, but nothing more than that. While the on-road side of it shines, the off-road one, it feels lacking. You see, that's what I would normally say when evaluating a bike based on scoreboards that are set in stone.
But then I think what a GS owner does with their bikes. Let's be honest with ourselves. Most ADV bikes will never leave the pavement. And even when they do, they don't go any further than a fire road. And the F700GS breezes through dirt and fire roads. It's actually pretty good at it.
We all imagine tackling the most extreme terrain on our ADV bikes, but in reality we do casual strolls around dirt paths. And there is nothing wrong in it. Dirt paths are fun, and the 700 is pretty fun at it.
So while in our idealistic figure of a GS, the 700 might be meh, in the real world, it satisfies the needs of 90% of people.
So is it a real GS? By modern interpretation, I would say so. The thing is, being a real GS is not enough. In today's world, you need to be more than just a brand. You know what this reminds me of? The F650CS Scarver. That bike was really oriented towards the street, like this one. It had some weird quirks, like this one. And it was a bit misunderstood, just like this one.
More importantly, forgotten, just like this one. And like the Scarver, it does have some quirks, most notably the gas tank. You see, we praise German engineering for being top of the line, and it is. Except even German engineers can get really drunk and then have to rush things the following day. And that's what happened when designing the gas tank.
A regular car tank looks like this. The regular motorcycle one looks like this. The Scarvers? A bit like this. Here's the thing. In the quest of keeping the weight low, BMW tried to hide the tank under the seat and put the filler cap right next to it.
Except in doing so, the shape of the tank became so complicated that they could not create a system for measuring the quantity of petrol in the tank.
That's why on the dash you only get shown a measurement starting when the tank is half empty.
So when you see full bars on the dash, you have half a tank. Or more. Who knows? But wait, then your fuel light kicks in. How many kilometers do you have left? You don't know. I don't know. In fact, not even BMW does.
It even states in the manual, given the weird shape and the way petrol slushes around in it, they cannot determine how much fuel and range you have left in the tank.
You see, they tried really hard to fix a problem, weight distribution, but on the way there, they screwed up one of the most basic tools for an adventure rider, the fuel gauge.
That's German engineering for you. There are other little quirks as well, like the front valve stem integrated into a spoke instead of the base of the rim. But these little things pale in comparison to the elephant in the room I just mentioned. The thing is, the 700GS is the entry level to BMW's adventure bike lineup. It's the gateway drug.
Gravel road, I've been asked to slow down. Fireplace, do you know how?
It has to be good enough to get you hooked, but not good enough so that you always want better and stronger stuff.
And so it brings some of the refinement of its bigger brothers, just in a smaller and cheaper package.
Now, BMW's lineup can be a bit confusing, like you would assume the 700 has a 700cc engine, but it doesn't.
It has an 800cc one, just like the F800, which they are incredibly similar, same engines, 10 horsepower difference. Look, there was a time when the Germans were a bit confused on how to set themselves in the market. What matters is that the 700 was their entry offering, and they did a great job as one.
It brought two factors of the big GS brothers down to the masses, and those factors can be described by two words: effortless and dependable. I don't quite know how to explain. Whenever I hop on the bike, I'm convinced I'll get to my destination. I feel like nothing can stop me, like I'm piloting a mothership.
Albeit the smallest mothership in our case, which is kind of a contradiction. But either way, back on track. It's weird, maybe the smoothness of it all makes me feel like everything is so well bolted together that nothing can go wrong. Maybe it's just placebo. Actually, it probably is just that. But so what?
Hey, I wish you could see yourself just sitting there on my chair. I'm staring at you, you don't even notice. Should've told you straight.
I used to make fun of bikes like this. That bikes, big and small. Mostly BMWs, but not only. Really good at fetching Starbucks, but kind of rubbish at real off-roading. I thought they were not cool enough. And to be fair, I still don't think they're cool. But I get them now.
They're not meant to be cool. I now understand the feeling that riding a BMW GS gives you. This little F700 managed to show me the GS way, and I like it. I'm not going to sell my other hardcore bikes and get a 1250, but I want to explore more.
I want to see more of what the GS can really be. And who knows, in the close future, maybe I fancy buying one as well.
I might not have changed my mind on their coolness, but at least now I get it.
Fall into you.
Now, if you want to watch another video of an even rougher adventure bike, click here to see the video I did on the Yamaha XT660Z 10 array. Thanks a lot for watching this. Please like the video if you liked it, subscribe it if you want to see more of this, and see you on the next one.